Hiya, me again. How you doing? Hope you're well, keeping safe, keeping sane. It's not easy, is it? Certainly not if you're me. It's been now 6 days since Villefranche reopened, since Nice reopened, since most of France completely reopened. Hairdressers, restaurants, bars, etc. all operating reasonably normally. And so I thought I'd give you my impressions on how it's gone, how it feels, because obviously for people back home in Britain who know France, who know Villefranche, they'll want to know what it's like here right now. And I think people who've never been near here, it might be of interest to you just because it clearly is what's coming to Britain in the next couple of weeks. It does seem like Her Majesty's government are preparing to unlock various things in various muddled ways, as far as I can see. Anyway, last Tuesday was the big day, the big reopening in Villefranche. And I think it's fair to say everyone went a little bit crazy. It was party night in the town. There were no tourists here, but there were an awful lot of Villefranchois and Niçois who had been cooped up for weeks and weeks and weeks on end, who came out and painted the town red. All the staff in the restaurants and the bars, they were all wearing masks as was required. The tables were spaced to 1 metre, though I have to say it didn't greatly seem any different to normal.
Are you not nervous to be out?
And the customers, well,
No.
myself
You're not gonna wear a
included, I
visor?
can't honestly say we were that socially distant. People weren't necessarily cuddling and kissing and all of that stuff. In fact, I've yet to see anybody do the classic French greeting of kiss on two cheeks. That, for now, has completely disappeared from the culture. And for a Yorkshireman, that's quite welcome, really, because kissing's something you do at Christmas. But people partied, and it was interesting. The next day, when I spoke to people who'd been out that night and were nursing hangovers, a couple of them said to me that they did feel like they got a bit carried away in terms of how close they got to other people, etc. I personally think that given how the British tend to behave when they're off the leash, the first night of unlocking when British pubs and restaurants and things reopen will be quite wild. And I think if the government has any sense, they will try and make sure that that is timed to be on a night when perhaps everyone can't go out, but we shall see. So that was the unlocking, and since then bars and restaurants, as I say, are operating really pretty normally. It helps that quite a lot of them are outside here, so people are in the open air, people are sat on the beach. You can see the beach bar here. It really doesn't look greatly different. The sunbeds on the beach don't greatly seem to be any more spaced out than they ever were at Delhi Boat. And the beach was absolutely rammed on Saturday. Suddenly the weather cracked up, and so everybody stayed in. But Saturday was completely packed. And you know, it was very strange because you walked along the beachfront, and we walked to Beaulieu and sat on the beach there and swam, and to all intents and purposes, everything felt completely normal, as if the world had just flipped back to exactly what it was before. And yet, I don't know if it's just me, I don't think it has. There is still somehow a tension in the air, and I can't quite put my finger on it. And interestingly, we were in the gym yesterday, and it's a very small gym, and I think I've talked about it before, but people were getting very close to each other. There were 6 or 7 guys working out, very close proximity, and then the trainer came through to decide to use his Henry Hoover in the middle of it, and I slightly lost the plot, because whilst I am no way a let's lock everything down forever merchant, I do think there is a sensible way of carrying on, and this didn't feel like it, and I simply got out that space. And I think I'm going to switch to another branch of the gym with a bigger sal, as they call them. So as I say, I think that tension is still there, and I was trying to put my finger on what it was like, and the only thing I can say is it reminds me of is when I was a kid in Yorkshire, the Yorkshire Ripper was on the loose, and I was too young to understand that the dear old Yorkshire Ripper wasn't really interested in young lads coming back home across the recreation ground. And so I was terrified, because there was this, behind every bush, behind every building, I thought this crazed killer was going to jump out. And I still think there's a little bit of that going on in the atmosphere here. It may be just my paranoia. There's certainly, the French people I speak to and watch do not seem overly concerned. Some of the older ones are still wearing masks in the street, and certainly they're all wearing masks in the shops, because that's absolutely enforced, and on public transport and all the rest of it. But this is the world of Villefranche right now. This is what is happening in the south of France, and it looks very much like the world of before. We shall see what is to come. Hope you're all well. Please do subscribe to the channel. I'm not just going to bang on about COVID for the next 28 years. I'm going to make some more interesting films, I hope, than that. I'm particularly going to try and make some films about literary figures who have led interesting lives in the south of France. There's certainly quite a lot of them down the centuries. I recently discovered the story of Oscar Wilde in Nice, and I'm kind of interested to try and tell that story if I can seek out some of the locations and some of the experiences. So do subscribe. I'm going to try and keep this channel going, and not have it just turn into COVID TV, or have it just turn into pretty tourist videos about the south of France. So stick with it. Hope you're well. Stay safe, stay sane, keep smiling. Bye.